These are different ways you can use timers to increase your productivity and stop procrastination. So you have two options for this. You can either use physical timers, which I prefer, or you can also use phone timers. But the best way to do it is to use a combination of physical timers and phone timers. Physical timers is when you're at home and near your desk, and then phone timers is if a task takes more than 99 minutes, which is usually the max for these timers, or if you're away from the house. So if you're doing other tasks away from the house, you would use your phone timer. But most tasks in your house, you'd use physical timers. Let's get started. So the first way you can use a timer to increase your productivity is you mentally think of a task that you want to do. So like let's say you want to read 10 pages of a book, you want to record this video, you want to eat this meal, you want to do these amount of workouts, stuff like that. You mentally tell yourself the task you want to do. I want to read 10 pages. Then you set a timer and you go till you read the 10 pages. And that way you have a timer going and that gives you time pressure, so you're a lot more likely to not procrastinate while doing it. So that's the first way to use a timer for productivity. The second thing is for very small tasks, or especially if you're feeling very lazy or demotivated that day. So what the second thing is, you want to give yourself a max time to do a task to focus on. So like let's say you want to do home workouts, but you only do it for 1 minute. So you set a 1 minute timer and you do it for the minute. Or if you're doing another small task that you want to do, maybe you set for 5 minutes, just set a 5 minute timer and just go till the timer is done. So that's the second way to use a timer for productivity. The third way, this is more for avoiding procrastination and for entertainment. So for entertainment, it's very easy to just mentally say, okay, I just want to watch a movie for this amount of time or play games for this amount of time, but you end up going for hours. And that's the entertainment trap you need to be careful of. So what you want to do, the third thing is what I call the entertainment timer. So if you're doing a daily entertainment, you start off by saying a daily entertainment time that you want to give yourself. So it could be like 20 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 2 games. So let's say like 2 8-ball pool games, 20 minutes watching a movie a day. So you give yourself that max time, then you set a timer. So like let's say for the 20-minute movie one, we'd set a 20-minute timer. So you set this 20-minute timer, you start it before you start searching for a movie. And then once this timer goes off, and then once this timer goes to 0, you stop watching the movie for the day. And this trains you to stop your entertainment once you reach the limit. So you control your entertainment time instead of entertainment controlling your life. The next is what I call a group timer. So you want to set a timer to do a set group of tasks. So like let's say after your morning routine, you have a set stuff that you want to do. You want to set up your Google Docs, you want to check your email, you maybe want to track yesterday's habit progress, you maybe want to set up today's habit tracking papers, you might want to clean up your desk a bit from the day before. So you would have a group of tasks that you do for this, and you want to give yourself a max time. So you start off by timing exactly how long this stuff takes. So like let's say you track in multiple days and it takes 14 minutes and 30 seconds. The next day, 14 minutes and 15 seconds, then 14 minutes and 10 seconds. You want to round it up to the nearest minute as a little buffer time. So after your morning routine, you set a 15-minute timer to set up to do the stuff I told you to start your first main task after your morning routine. And there you go. That gives you time pressure and it gives you clarity for that. This next way you can try it yourself. If it works for you, keep it. If it doesn't, don't use it. All these ideas, you try it. If it works for you, you keep it. If it doesn't work for you and it doesn't help you, don't use the method. So the next method is what I call total productive minutes a day. So whenever you start a productive task, like let's say reading, making a social media video, writing a book, doing push-ups, you set a timer. And then once you finish that task, like let's say after you do your push-ups, after you finish writing your book, you just stop it and you keep this timer going. Like let's say this reaches 90 minutes. On a paper, you would have total productive minutes, write 90 minutes. At the next time the total is 92 minutes, you keep on going. And you'd stop it once this, and you'd track it once this timer reaches almost its max it can get on this timer. And if you're doing, and you'd also use your phone timer for this. So if you do habits on your phone, or if you do success habits away from your house, productive habits, you set timer when you start it on your phone, and then once you finish that task, or once you stop, you'd pause the timer. And you continue once you start a success habit again. And at the end of the day, you add up the total, and that's your total productive minutes for the day. Now, let me show you other helpful ways you can use timers to help you succeed. So, so we already know we have our main timer. Now watch this. We get a second timer. The second timer gives yourself a max time. So like let's say you're working on your desk. The second timer gives you a max sitting time before you get up and just move or do a quick workout. That way, you don't continue sitting for way too long. So you set a certain amount of time that you want to sit nonstop. So just to keep this simple, you can change this if you want, but this is just my strategy. So for this, I set a 20-minute timer. So now, when you're working on your desk, or if you're doing habits on your desk while you're sitting, you set the timer, and then once this timer is done, you get up and you move. Maybe for 1 to 5 minutes, just walk around, do some stretches, some quick workouts, stuff like that. So that way you don't sit as much. Now, a replacement for this, ideally, you get a treadmill desk. If you don't have that, just use this method. Now, the next method is if you want to have time pressure, but you also want to know how long a task takes. So like let's say you're doing habit number 10. You set a max time for that task. So like let's say you want to give yourself max 10 minutes. You go until this timer is done, and then once it stops, you stop the habit. And then if you also want to track how long the habit took, you'd use a second timer starting at 0. So like let's say you want to read for 10 minutes max. You set both timers, and then once this timer is done, you'd stop. So like let's say this is at 5 minutes when you're done, and then this is also 5 minutes. This timer is the max. You don't need to track this, but this timer will tell you how long that task took. So like let's say you're reading 3 pages, you did that in 5 minutes. That's an example. Now the final method for now is what I call total delay time timer. So if you want to track how long it takes you to do a habit, and how long it takes you to set up and to start the next habit and track the progress for that habit, to know the total time of how long it actually takes to do your habit list, you do this. So you'd have your timer. This tracks how long it took you to do each habit. So like let's say habit number 10, it takes you 5 minutes. And then you have another timer starting at 0. You start it, and this is your setup and track time. So in this time, you set up to start habit number 11, you track the progress. So like let's say on the habit tracking papers, for a total time for habit number 10, for a total time for habit number 10, you'd write 5 minutes. In the total habit progress, you can write, say, read 3 pages. And then once this is done, this is how long it took you to, let's say, go from habit number 10, step and track, to habit number 11. Let's say it took 23 seconds to do that. So all these methods, you don't need to do all of them at once. So like maybe today you start off with method number 1, maybe tomorrow you do method number 2,